The Jedi were the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy. Being able to tap into the Force granted them many wondrous and mysterious powers. When coupled with a lightsaber, they became some of the most revered and infamous warriors of the galaxy, with a nigh undefeated record. If you were a wrongdoer and you encountered Jedi resistance, 9 times out of 10, it was over for you. However, the Jedi weren't all powerful, and there were still many things that could threaten them should they ever come against it. Welcome, curious travelers of the galaxy, to today's video, where we will be continuing and counting down the top 5 most dangerous things to a Jedi to encounter. If you have been enjoying the content, it would help us out a great deal if you could leave a like. Now, let's begin. Starting at number 5, blasters are the most widely used weapon in Star Wars. It is pretty much the standard issue every man's go-to for many millennia. But contrary to popular belief, regular guns more akin to our world's firearms do actually exist in the Star Wars universe and are highly dangerous to Jedi. These are known as Slug Throwers. Rather than fire blaster bolts, they would fire solid objects called slugs. Many of the Tusken Raiders of Tatooine used these Slug Throwers, as well as the dangerous Jedi known as Aurra Sing. During the long years of the Mandalorian Wars, the Mandalorians employed Slug Throwers to great effect against the Jedi. The reason a Slug Thrower was so dangerous against a saber-wielding opponent is for the simple fact that the laser bolts can be deflected, but slugs cannot. Rather than being reflected back towards the shooter, the slugs would just melt when in contact with the lightsaber, sending burning shrapnel into the eyes or hands of the Jedi. Slug throwers were not regularly seen among civilians of the galaxy for this reason, not to mention the fact that blasters were more developed weapons unless coming across a less developed world. Case in point, Stormtrooper and Clone Trooper armor were made out of plastoid alloy composite and were meant to protect the wearer against projectiles. Lasers could burn through this armor, of course, but slugs had a harder time penetrating it. It was not a widely known fact that these solid firearms were so effective against Jedi, and the Jedi made sure to keep it that way. Coming up at number 4 is a dark side ability known as the Mind Shard. Mind Shard, also known as Mental Subjugation or Mind Probe, is a dark side force power used to extract information from a target while inflicting the most pain as possible. Mental Subjugation works by having the caster project the force into a target's mind like a hot knife, shedding through mental defenses and siphoning information hidden within the target's deep recesses. The technique is so forceful that it causes tremendous waves of physical pain within the target, allowing it to double as a torture technique. Still, it is a willpower focused technique that requires absolute focus and the caster to be stronger in the force than their intended target. A stronger target can resist with their own mental defenses. The caster must also be careful how hard they push this technique on their target. Too much at once can turn the mind to mush and can render the target a complete vegetable. Therefore, careful control is needed. In order to overcome the mental barriers of another, this technique is often used in conjunction with drugs and traditional interrogation methods. We see this technique used by Kylo Ren against Poe Dameron in The Force Awakens, as he attempts to use it on Rey but to no effect later in the film. It is a powerful ability that can be incredibly dangerous and taxing on a Jedi, as they have many secrets that must be protected at all costs. Jedi have shown indescribable resilience to most kinds of torture, but it is possible that they might be more susceptible to force-based methods. Darth Vader and Darth Maul were also practiced hands at this ability, with Darth Vader being considered the most skilled with the technique in all of Star Wars, using it to great effect against countless Jedi. Moving on to number 3, we have a very strange one indeed. The mind trick is a staple of many clever Jedi, including Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, as well as Qui-Gon Jinn. Luke was able to employ the mind trick against great effect against Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi. The principle of this technique is that you can use the Force to implant thoughts, feelings, or suggestions into a subject's mind in order to gently coerce them into doing something that is desired. The only fact of the matter is that the mind trick only works for the weak-minded. Those who are more self-aware, more intelligent, or have more of a resolve in their way of thinking will be able to resist it. There are very few known ways to counter this technique because the Jedi are often very subtle in employing it, which makes it difficult to spot, much less resist outright. However, there exists a mysterious substance that is known as Jedi Mind Juice. Jedi Mind Juice was a popular term for the green ichor secreted by a sacred Coherla. The Coherla were a floating jellyfish-like species native to the stormy energy atmosphere of the planet Janaris. Though a hardy species, it seemed that the Coherla could survive in in the skies of the homeworld, which had led scientists to believe that they used unique gases and other factors that led to the creatures living on their homeworld and able to survive. After the Battle of Naboo, it was discovered that the fluids that made up the body of a Koherla and that were secreted when the Koherla was scared contained a pale ichor that could be used to provide immunity to the Force. Though the benefits were unproven, the ichor became known as Jedi Mind Juice, a serum that if taken could cause someone to become immune to the effects of the Force. This discovery led many criminal groups actively engaging in illegal hunts for the beast. These Koherla were captured, and their fluids would be drained from them. As was expected, these hunts were often kept in secret, and rumors were spread about the dangers of these gentle beasts in order to hide the criminal operations in order to capture them. The ability to make one immune from the Force was obviously hugely beneficial to any criminal organization, and although the ichor was very rare, it was obviously also highly effective. At number 2, we have another Force ability known as Force Scream. This dark side ability is possibly the most effective thing any Sith could utilize against a single Jedi. The properties of a Force Scream were simple. The user would bellow out a horrific wail that would inspire fear and uncertainty in their opponents, and was known to temporarily even sever a Jedi's connection to the Force, although it was extremely difficult to use. This technique was utilized to great success though by Sidious when Mace Windu and other Jedi Masters went to arrest him. Many watched this scene and mistake the Masters for being slow or incompetent, when in actuality that noise Sidious makes when he comes drilling at them through the air was in fact a perfectly utilized Force Scream. With the Jedi Masters briefly unable to tap into the Force, they were helpless against the fury of the Sith Lord. Kit Fisto and Mace Windu had enough time to recover, but unfortunately, Sidious proved too efficient of a duelist for Master Fisto. As was stated by Yoda to Luke, a Jedi's strength flows through the Force, so when they are severed from it and the Force is no longer their ally, the Jedi are in big trouble, which is why Sidious was so effective at dispatching 3 Jedi Masters nearly instantaneously, the greatest Force Scream that we know of currently in Star Wars, which leads us directly into number 1. The final topic of this list is the creature known as the Asalamari. The Asalamari were lizard-like tree dwellers native to the planet of Maruk, most known for their ability to repel the Force by creating a Force-neutral bubble. This ability evolved in response to a predation by Force-sensitive Vorskers. Many Asalamari grouped together would expand their Force-neutral bubble by varying distances, sometimes even by kilometers. In the now Legends novel Heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn used these creatures to great effect against Luke Skywalker and the insane Jedi Master Jorah Sabayoth. A Jedi's senses and powers could not penetrate the bubble of the Asalamari whatsoever. When Luke Skywalker was captured by pirates in the novel and taken to the planet of Maruk, the forest which contained the Asalamari cast a bubble so large that it enveloped the entire planet, effectively cutting Luke Skywalker himself off from the Force completely. This is Luke, one of the most in-tuned individuals to the Force in the entirety of the Star Wars mythos, and the Asalamari crippled him. It was only after he had fully left the planet's atmosphere he was able to feel the Force again. In regards to Master Sabayoth, Thrawn had struck an uneasy agreement with the unhinged Jedi Master, and used the Asalamari to protect himself from him. Any Force lightning would fizzle out within a few inches away from Thrawn, so long as he had one of these lizards draped around his shoulders. They are a dangerous and interesting creature that I hope we will get to see more of in the Ahsoka series when it eventually comes out, now that Thrawn is officially fully canon. Undoubtedly though, this creature in the Asalamari is the most dangerous thing to a Jedi in all of Star Wars, as they're unable to use the Force around them at all times. Well friends, what did you think of today's video? Are there any other strange or unusual things in the galaxy that we failed to mention? Remember to give your thoughts below, and as always, we value hearing from you. Until next time, may the Force be with you, and I hope you have a great day.